Grand Negus Zek goes on a business safari to open new territories for financial exploitation. Quark prays to the blessed Exchequer, and Ezri Dax is the closest friend Brunt has ever had. Well, in the Mirror Universe, that is. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 12, entitled The Emperor's New Cloak, written by Ira Steven Behr and Hans Beimler, directed by, a little bit of trivia on this one, LeVar Burton. This was 1999, February 3rd. We have a very special guest, one of our favorite humans ever, Mr. ARMIN SHIMERMAN. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Hello to everyone. Hello.
Welcome, Armin. Good to see you again. As always, a pleasure.
Everybody, you are in for a treat. Armin is wonderful. He brings us such great insights, and you're really going to love this. You're going to love Cirroc too, by the way, but you already know that. First of all, it did say in memory of Jerome Bixby. I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
Yes, Jerome Bixby was the author of the first Mirror Universe episode called Mirror Mirror. So that's why he had passed away, and it was a dedication to him.
Right. We're told that he wrote 4 episodes, the original series, and of the Twilight Zone as well. So Cirroc has certainly seen some of his works.
Wow.
But that was interesting. I didn't know about him until I saw that dedication at the beginning.
He's one of only, I think, 2 people that I can remember that got that kind of a special dedication. Who was the other one? It was the NBC executive that passed away.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember his name, but you're right.
Brandon Tartikoff.
Tartikoff.
Right. Tartikoff had a special credit in one episode that we watched a few seasons back, and I did notice Jerome Bixby. I didn't know who he was, and I'm glad you guys kind of brought him up. Clearly, they wanted to pay homage to him.
Mm-hmm. So this, okay, I said Mirror Universe, but in this episode, they keep calling it the alternate universe. Rom definitely hits that point home. But can you, Armin, can you paint the picture for us here? Because this is the middle of the 7th season, and everybody knows this is the last season. At least I assume everybody at least knew it or had a very strong idea that it was. Do you remember what the mood was like? Was it kind of like Friday fun time? Was it spring break? Summer break is coming? Were people somber? Was there a different, or was it business as usual?
It was pretty much business as usual, with the one exception, for me anyway, and I can't speak for the others, because Nicole DeBoer had just come aboard the show. I noticed that they were writing a lot of episodes for Nicole because she was a new toy for them to play with. Mm-hmm. And so, and I, for one, and I'll speak for Renee because I had this conversation with him. We were delighted that the writers were focusing on Nicole and not on us, because we had more time off that way. So that was the only difference. Aside from that, it was business as usual. And as I have said before, this was the required Ferengi episode that they would write for me and the others during every season. Sometimes there were 2, sometimes 3 episodes.
Yeah, Ira kind of alluded to that when we talked to him about Nicole's presence here in the 7th season. One of the things that he was talking about was, really trying to spend the beginning or first half of this 7th season introducing her character and giving her a lot to do. And I noticed that in several episodes, there would be just one scene with some of the main cast, and then they'd have the rest of the episode off. And I thought to myself, the very sentiment that you made, Armin, which is, I'm sure people were happy that they got more time off.
Right, because I am a Ferengi. We got paid the same whether we did a full episode or whether we only did a half hour on one episode. So and the residuals are the same too. So yes, I for one was delighted that Nicole had so much work to do.
Did you find it not just for the time off, but did you find it, like you said, the writers, they kind of had a new toy to play with, a new pawn or queen in the game of chess with which they could see how Worf reacts to her, how Bashir reacts to her, how it's like new storylines are created through this. Was it also fun as an actor to have a new person to bounce off, as an actor and also playing your character? Did you feel that same way, or was it just like, here's a professional actor, I'm a professional actor, it's gonna be great no matter what?
No, it was fun. Nicole was a new spirit on the set, so it was great to get to know her better and to work with her. And because she was new, as any new actor on any project would be, she was working her ass off in order to be as good as the rest of us. We had been doing these characters for 6 years, 7 years, and she was trying to catch up as quickly as she could. And there was great dedication in her work. So it was a delight to work with her because she was working in the way that I particularly like, which is to work at your fullest potential. And it was easy in the seventh year to sort of not come in with your A game because you had been doing it for a long time. So she reminded us to play our A game.
Armin, now we're in the 7th season. And when I first started watching this show, I was really amazed by how well you understood your character and how almost solidified it was right from the beginning. I felt
day one, yeah.
From day one, Quark was had assurance of himself and who he was and his identity. And I think that is a credit to how you portrayed him. And now 7 seasons later, I still see that level of consistency in your performance. You have this really amazing ability to walk this line of comedy and drama that you do so well. And as I've watched over the seasons, I just keep admiring how you do that. And particularly the chemistry between you and Renee, I think it just blows me away. I love the way the opening scene where he's kind of Odo's kind of poking at you for having feelings about Ezri, and he does a line where he says, "I think they left holding hands," just to really rub it into you. And I just love the chemistry there, and I wanted to give you my full flowers, as they say, for the amount of work that you do as Quark, and just that subtlety that you do. Not super far like Rom goes, all the way into full comedy. You give us that balance as a Ferengi of just enough comedy, but also just enough drama. And where does that emanate from in your classical studies of acting?
Well, thank you, Cirroc. Thank you very much. Let me start by addressing your first comment, which is I seem to have the character down from day one. Well, let us remember that I had played Ferengi on Next Generation, so I had a head start.
Good point. Yeah.
So I did sort of know where I was coming from. And as I've said ad infinitum, my whole intention of playing Quark was to try to eradicate those performances on Next Generation, which I considered to be god-awful. As far as chemistry, as you know, Cirroc, as Ryan knows, as almost everybody knows, Renee and I had a very special friendship very quickly in the filming of Deep Space Nine. And that chemistry, that friendship just blossomed more and more as we worked together. So there was something always there, because we weren't just characters. We were also very good friends, very close friends. And we had to play against that sometimes, but it always seeped in to our scenes together. So that was just art imitating life,
Is that something you did on the back and forth when you guys communicate? Did he like pull your card and tease, and you kind of go back at him and rib at him? Was that?
I don't think I ever went back and ribbed him, but I certainly did tease in real life. Yeah. But you have to understand, or you don't have to understand, but I will tell you where I'm coming from, which is I'm a theater actor. Renee is a god in the theater world. And although we were peers on the show, I never really got over the fact that he was theater royalty. And I was just a working Joe in the theater. I'm a good actor on stage, but Renee was a prince. And so I never ribbed him because I respected him too much. But we got along great. It was a great relationship. So there's that. And
well, everybody,
as far as my classical background, my agenda, as I alluded to just a moment ago, was to try to rehabilitate the Ferengi after I had sabotaged them on TNG. And so that was always there. And I did not want to make them one-dimensional, or at least I did not want my character to be one-dimensional. So I always was looking for ways to make Quark three-dimensional. And as Ira has told me, and perhaps she's told other people as well, if they wanted out-and-out farce, they were smart enough to say, let's give it to Quark, to Rom, because Armin either can't do it or won't do it. And so I was left with the more comic, dramatic lines than perhaps Max was, or even Aaron sometimes, because they were intrinsically more, in my opinion, more comic actors than I was. I always approached this character as a dramatic character who happened to say comic things.
Mm-hmm. We're so glad you did. I wanted to point out to everybody at home, when Armin called Renee a god, that is proof that it was not just Weyoun that considered Odo to be a god. He really was in real life. You heard it here.
A founder. He's a real life founder.
Period. Fictionally or in real life, he's a god.
I tell everybody who's listening to this, take a moment, go and look up what Renee did on stage. It is a resume beyond everybody else's. He played Lear at 25 at an extremely important theater, ACT in San Francisco. His theater background is colossal, and you can understand why I was awed by that.
So I did want to now, Cirroc already kind of said this, but I really want to hit it more because I wrote it in my notes a few times. And Armin, it's not that I didn't notice it in the first 6 seasons, but in this episode, it hit me. I was like, Armin in the 7th season is so committed to his character. And it was so interesting to see the level of commitment of putting like a little ... in your delivery. Or if something needs to go big, you hit it big. And I was really impressed because, it's not 100% necessary. Somebody in the 7th season could just read the lines. They're cool. They're great. And I know no actor would really do that, but it really hit me how much you are committed to your character and how you took no lines off. Every line was like 100% effort. And first of all, I just want to thank you for that because, as the consumer, we appreciate that you didn't take one line off, that you gave everything you had to every scene you had. And I think that's, I just really appreciate that. And I think it was great. And it truly shows 25 years later. I just was wondering, was this a conscious effort? Did you, as actors, all of you maybe, have to remind yourselves, like, you got to go on 100% every time, no lines off? Was this sometimes directing, like where a director would say, all right, everybody, wake up, more energy or something like that? Where did this come from?
I don't know is the answer. And I can take a guess, and that's all it is a guess. Because I was fortunate to be doing 2 TV shows at the same time, it was like doing repertory theater. You don't get stale, you don't get bored, because you're going away to do something else. And I would come back every week from Buffy or the other things that I was doing. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I guess, would energize me to go back to Deep Space Nine and do the best I could. But I also think because I knew we were coming to the end, that was no secret, that there was only so many limited opportunities to do the best work. And this was, as I said before, a Ferengi episode, which meant that to some extent, I needed to shoulder the responsibilities of being one of the main characters in a Ferengi episode.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too, is like, I see you as the most level-headed and rational thinking Ferengi out of them all. Actually,
that's not saying much.
Quark agrees with you.
Because you've got Brunt over here, and he's like a little, and Zek, he's all over the place.
What do you mean I'm all over the place?
Yeah, and I feel like you're like the voice of reason, like out of all of this. And
so why didn't they make me the Nagus?
That's what I'm saying. Why didn't they make you the Nagus? It makes more sense to me. But yeah, because I see all of them kind of doing this, like, these harebrained ideas, and most of your harebrained ideas revolve around trying to get the girl you like, impress the girl that you like. But you don't really, outside of that, it's like you're practical. How much am I going to make? What's the deal? Let's do it. But I do see that, in this episode, you've got all these Ferengi, and I'm looking at Quark and I'm saying, well, you really drive the story, for one, because, I wouldn't really be that into this story if it wasn't for the performance that you give. In this episode. Absolutely. I think you drive the story, you keep it interesting. And I also kind of was interested in seeing Ezri in this kind of different format. We just saw her now, so we're just getting to know her character. And now we see her as a kind of a badass version of herself, which I was kind of into. I was like, okay, this is kind of early for her, but we get to see some of her acting chops as well, but mostly bounce off of your performance and you giving as much as you do. And I guess that's the root of my question, is when you are doing these performances, a lot of what you do is also setting up other people or giving, and in the actor space. I feel like Rom's lines don't hit as hard if you don't set it up. It's like, you're like throwing an assist up there, an alley-oop kind of play, and you do that throughout this episode for other characters.
Yeah.
And is that something that also that you kind of get from your theater background, like setting up other people?
You've hit the nail right on the head there. Yes, it is from my theater background. I've always considered myself an ensemble player. I'm always one of many people in a cast. Whether I'm playing Hamlet or whether I'm playing Fortinbras, I'm just one of the people in the cast. And I'm always aware there's a time when it's my turn to take center stage, and there's a time when others take center stage. And in order, understanding that, then it's my job to queue up the other people so that they have their opportunity. So yes, that is my theater background. It is. I've worked with actors, I'm sure so have you, Cirroc, that when it's their time off camera, when they're feeding you the lines, there's nothing there because they're not on camera, and they're just saying the words, and there's no performance to work off of. I never liked that. I've never believed in that. I think it's horrible to do to your fellow actors, and so I always, if I'm not center stage, and it's my job to support the person who is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my theater background.
You know, Cirroc, I was thinking about you when Brunt popped in, speaking of which, and I wanted to ask you specifically, Cirroc, because this is the first time you've seen this episode. How weird was it to see Brunt show up and just be like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here to help you out. I'm just a nice guy." Were you thinking like, what's the catch? I mean, it almost felt foreign to see Jeffrey Combs playing a nice guy, but beyond that, one that was genuine. there was nothing, no other real motive other than his attraction to Ezri that we found out later. There was that subtext there in the way he delivered his lines. But I mean, did it take you off guard?
Yeah, a lot of these episodes, these alternate universe or mirror universe or whatever, however they like to explain it. A lot of these episodes take me off guard, and they're very difficult for me to follow. I'm just trying to learn the cast and the situations that they're going through. So when you throw me for a loop like this, and I have to relearn and re-coordinate myself, it's kind of difficult because I'm thinking, what's going on? You know, why do they need this? Why isn't there, you know, a warp drive cloaking device in this universe? How many universes are there? I mean, how many alternate universes are there? It's just an infinite number.
Yeah.
And am I meeting the intendant from the alternate universe that I met from before, or is this a different intendant? So all of those things kind of go through my head, and it kind of leaves me a little bit lost in the story, which is why these kinds of episodes are not my favorite. But once again, you know, when you do have an episode that's not your favorite, then you have to find the things that you do like about it and try to extract those things. So I do like, you know, Armin, your performance as Quark. I do like Andy Robinson and his performance in this episode. And so I'm going to now just go on, you know, smaller things. I thought, for example, Rom was fantastic.
I was waiting for it. I was like, here comes the Rom accolades, because he deserves it. He went, and it felt like almost like Max was thinking every one of these lines, I'm going to hit a home run. It just seemed like he was really, especially in the second half of the episode, he was really crushing it for me. It was just like he hit every line that was intended to be comedy, and he made it that much better. We do have to take a super quick break, but there was also another connection between the previous Mirror Universe episode that we'll have to do on the other side. I know everybody got to wait like 4 seconds, so we'll be right back with that, and that'll be on the 7th Rule. Stick around.